can dance Faroese chain dance. You can get eat very nice food, and there are plenty of other things that you can do throughout the year. And actually, you can also occasionally see the Nordic light dancing in the sky in the wintertime. So I actually prefer the Faroe Islands in the wintertime because I think that I love the colors in the wintertime, and they're just different. In the summertime, it's very, very green. The grass is so green that you just can't imagine that it's real. You think that's a Photoshop picture or something. Mm-hmm. But in the wintertime, it's totally different. But that's when the sea gets so blue, and I like that color. So it's just very different, and that's also something that a lot of photographers and painters get very inspired of, the changing colors and the totally, the ever-changing climate, where you can have like 4 seasons throughout the day. You can have summer in the morning, and you can have winter in the evening, or the opposite. And that makes the sky change all the time, and the colors are just very changing. So that's you can never say that on this day we will have a good day or a bad day. It's just ever changing. That's one of the charms by living here is the nature that rules here, and not the people.
It sounds very spectacular, and I like the winter, so perhaps I should do the winter as well. I'm not that keen on birds, so winter's for me then.
Okay. Yeah.
Are there any tourist-friendly annual events, festivals, or anything?
Definitely. Of course, it depends on what people are interested in. But for instance, we have the national festivities called Olavsøka. That's on the 28th and 29th of July. And that's when we celebrate St. Olaf. And it's about almost 900,000 years since that festival started. So it's a very old one. But there are various other festivals as well, like the Summer Festival. There is one called the G Festival, which I believe is has one of the most spectacular sceneries in the whole wide world when it comes to a festival, and that's in a small village called Göta, with mountains on 3 sides, and the 4th side is when you look out on the bay, and the festival is on the beach, and it's just really, really spectacular, and that's an event that is getting increased attention from abroad. And we also have a very special festival called Sommartoner, which is a concept. It's a very interesting concept where you can experience one concert for free every day in the summertime on different locations. It can be in churches, it can be in bird caves, or it can be on larger scenes. And it's just very interesting and authentic, this concept, and very popular for the tourists as well. And it can be on small islands, and it can be in the city center of Torshavn, and it can vary. Yep. So that's also a very interesting concept. And there are plenty of other things as well, but that's just to mention a few.
This is Seklo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seklosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seklo Sounds and listen online, or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seklo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seklosounds.org. Still to come, travel news, but at the moment we're still talking about the Faroe Islands, and now we're getting on to the favourite subject of mine if you're a regular listener, which is food. Now, if you're not that regular, the reason I ask about food is because I'm a vegan, and travelling when you're a vegan can be quite challenging. I know I don't have the figure of a vegan, but trust me, I am. So when I'm asking this question, I'm hoping that there'll be some nice vegan stuff comes out, but so far I've been disappointed because it seems that, like in Britain, the traditional food is not vegetable based. But anyway, if you're the sort of person like me who has difficulty in travelling because of your dietary requirements, could be an allergy, or maybe you're just awkward like me, being a vegan, let me know what troubles you have and what tips you can have to share with others on how to make sure you don't go hungry when you're travelling. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. But anyway, let's now find out about the food in the Faroe Islands.
What's the food like? Is it all fish?
A lot of fish and a lot of lamb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the food based on the local produce, but it's just very, very fresh. We export fish and lamb. Well, not that much lamb because we eat so much of it, but we export a lot of fish and seafood to the best restaurants in the world. Some of them, Noma, for instance, they get the restaurant in Copenhagen gets fish from the Faroe Islands, and it's actually the food in the Faroe Islands is in these days becoming a rising star when it comes to fine dining, because especially because of the restaurant called Cox that was nominated as one of the 5 best restaurants in the Danish kingdom this year. And actually the restaurant Cox, together with the hotel where it's placed, called Hotel Førje, holds the current title as the best sleep and eat place in the Danish kingdom. So that's quite amazing that the best sleep and eat place in the Danish kingdom is not in Denmark today, but it's in the Faroe Islands at this point. So that's that's definitely one of the highlights. There are also others. So the Nordic cooking is becoming very popular, and this is actually where a lot of the raw materials come from.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned one hotel, but what's the accommodation choice like? Are there any large international hotels, or is it mostly small, locally run bed and breakfasts and hostels?
Well, actually, we don't have any large international hotels when it comes to chains, but we have local hotels, and they have the best ones are 4 stars, and the biggest hotel has 106 rooms. So, and we have various classes. We have 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, and of course we have bed and breakfast facilities and hostels as well. So there are plenty of different possibilities there as well. Yeah. And so it's something for everyone. Yeah.
How easy is it to get around all the islands? Is a fly drive holiday a possibility?
Definitely, and we do have an extremely well-developed infrastructure with good road connections and subsea tunnels and bridges tying the islands together, and helicopters and boats that serve the outlying islands. So I would definitely recommend, almost everybody that could do it to drive in the islands to see as much as possible. And we always hear that from the tourists, that people like to drive in the Faroe Islands or go motorcycling or whatever that is, because the fact is that whenever they come to abandoned road, there's always a new view opening up to them, and that's what they like, because that's the positive thing about being a small couple of islands, and that's the view is ever changing, and that's something that really interests the tourists that come here. So it's very, very easy for tourists to visit all parts of the island and to experience the contrast between the capital and the outlying villages, where people to a large degree still live off the land and on these small islands and villages with only a few inhabitants. As I said, we have islands that only have one family on each of them. So it's just something that's very different from the European countries.
I had a quick look at your website. Well, not a quick look. I had investigated your website before putting these questions together, and I saw a bit about churches. And churches isn't something I think about when I go away, but I'm guessing that some of your churches are pretty magical and mysterious. So are there any that should be visited?
Definitely, and the oldest one is the one in Kyrkjebø. That's almost 1,000 years old, and that's a must, I think, with all the interesting history. One of the old Norwegian kings was born there, and so the Norwegians are also very interested in the history in that village. And it's just very beautiful, and there's a cathedral right next to it, and there are plenty of other ones. And actually, almost all the villages in the Faroe Islands have a church, even though they're small. They still have a church, and then so you have the difference between the old, the smaller churches and the new, bigger ones that are very beautifully made when it comes to architecture. And there are plenty of them. So you should take the possibility to go to see some of them. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you can go to a concert or something in them as well.
Yeah.
So actually, most of them are open on Sundays when there are ceremonies and so on. So And some of them are open throughout the week as well, where you can go in any time of day. So they're really interesting, I think, especially when it comes to architecture, from the architect view. Yeah.
Did you say earlier that some of your houses have grass on the roof?
Definitely. And historically, it was because it was very expensive to import material from abroad. So grass was probably the only local source to use. But the capital, Tórshavn, still has at its core an old waterfront town called Tinganes, or Areini. And that's still packed with traditional grass roofs and black and red tarred wooden houses. And nowadays, there are a lot of modern houses built who have chosen the grass roof again. And actually, Bill Clinton was here some years ago, and he got so fascinated by these grass roofs and said that he wanted a grass roof on his place. And of course, that's something that's getting interesting in these days again when it comes to sustainability and those kind of things. And it looks very charming with those houses, and it's really really nice because you don't hear the rain when it falls on the roof when it's when you have the grass.
This is Seklo Sounds. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour in the company of Harry and Edna on the wireless, exploring all aspects of the vintage scene and playing tip-top gramophone tunes. Harry and Edna on the wireless, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on seklosounds.org. Jolly good.
Sound the big thing now.
Hi, blessings to each and every one of you. Join me, Darren Hoy, with the Reggae Takeover Show for 2 hours of the finest reggae vibes, each and every Wednesday, 9 through to 11 p.m, here on Seklo Sounds. Don't miss out on your weekly Sunshine Fix, featuring roots, rude boy, dub, lovers rock, ska, one drop, and much, much more. So go on, give your sound system a treat. Join me, wind down low, and skank the night away. One love. That's Wednesdays, 9 through to 11 p.m, live on Seklo Sounds.
It's a top, my selector.
The John Guinn Travel Show. Checking it out before you check in on seklosounds.org. We'll be returning to the Faroe Islands shortly, but for now I just want to share some insurance tips with you. Travel insurance is very important. I've mentioned it on numerous occasions in my shows. You should have travel insurance when you go away. If you don't have travel insurance, just make sure you've got a credit card with a huge limit just in case something goes wrong. So it's much cheaper and easier to get travel insurance. But anyway, here's a few tips to share with you. Before you leave, you should scan your policy and email it to yourself using a web-based email account such as Hotmail. Then if you lose the copy of your insurance that you have taken with you, you can easily get another copy. Have the policy number stored in your mobile phone's memory, not the SIM card, along with the contact numbers you need for the insurance company. This email you should also include all the emergency contact telephone numbers that you need as well. Also leave a copy of your paperwork with a family member or friend in case the internet is not available due to a natural disaster and you really need to contact your insurance company. Make sure that everyone travelling with you knows how to find the details. If you're travelling in a group, make sure you know how to get each other's information in case it's needed, because you might not all be travelling under the same policy. And of course, if somebody's knocked out in a hospital, you're never going to know how to contact the insurance company unless you already know how to. Always report any theft or loss to the local police within 24 hours. Do not let anybody suggest that you delay this, such as the hotel manager. Make sure that you have the records of everything that you might claim for, such as receipts and photographs. And the last tip I'm sharing with you on insurance this week, always make sure that you keep receipts of any costs that you incur, such as travelling expenses to report a lost passport, meals when delayed, etc. So when you come to make a claim, you can say, look, this is what I paid, please give me the money back. If you've got any travel insurance tips, do share them. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.